Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be this fun ice cream nail set. So I'm starting off with a bunch of different gels here, and I kind of went a little crazy and pulled out a ton of different colors. Obviously you don't have to be this elaborate if you don't want to be, and a lot of these colors are just used for like one specific detail, so I just wanted to have fun with it and have it bright and fun, but it's not necessary if you don't have this many colors to pull out all of these different gel polishes. It was just something fun for me to do, and this set is going to be super easy and a lot of fun and just really simple. I mentioned in a few videos by now that I'm actually moving in a couple of weeks, so a lot of my stuff is actually packed up, and I just kind of have a lot of my gel polishes still sitting out because I still want to be able to make content with them, but a lot of my gems and pearls and glitters and stuff like that are already packed up. So a lot of the sets coming up for the next little bit are going to be simpler, easier sets, and hopefully that's something that you are interested in, and that is a lot of fun because sometimes the simplicity is a lot of fun as well. So I'm starting by going right onto the blank nail here and outlining the like drip design of the ice cream that I'm going to do. The reason why I did it this way and didn't do like the cone that I'm going to do later first and then do the ice cream on top is because this is going to be kind of multi-layered, and I didn't want there to be too much like bumpiness, roughness, and too many layers between all of the different steps, and I didn't want the ice cream to be too tall above the cone design that's going to be coming later. So I kind of did it this way, doing the drips first, and then I'm going to paint around the drips and do the cone part of the design later. I might have overcomplicated this set more than I needed to doing it this way, but I am happy with the results. So it doesn't have to be done this way, but I felt like if I did the like brown color of the cone under first, I would have to have built up the gel colors a lot more to cover it in case it kind of peeked through, and I wasn't really, didn't really want to do that. But later I do actually go in and have to touch up a little like certain areas. So like I said, I might have overcomplicated the technique, but I'm happy with how it came out. So I'm sure there's an easier way to do it if like this seems a little complicated, but at the same time, like it was just very easy, like small little brush strokes throughout this whole thing. This design was not complicated. The only time consuming thing was actually just wiping off my brush and using a different color for each of the nails. So it's a little bit time consuming, but not complicated. So those are the kinds of sets and designs that I love, especially when it comes to something like this where you have like dripping ice cream. You know that I love designs where you can't get it wrong, and you can't get a drip of ice cream wrong because every time you have an ice cream cone and it drips down, it looks different, and there's no right or wrong way to do it. And those are my favorite kinds of designs, especially for something this fun and where each of the drips just adds its own drama and dimension and detail to the nails. So you can see here I'm using this brown gel polish for the cone area, and I am using this very thin brush and just creating an outline around the drips so that it's as neat and clean as possible. And then I'm going to go in and use the brush from the bottle, from the gel bottle itself, just to fill in the ends. But I wanted to make sure I was using a very thin liner brush around the drips because I didn't want to mess it up too much or at all, really. Sometimes I can be a little bit too fast-paced or a little bit too aggressive or just too maybe excited is the word, and sometimes I'll just like over guesstimate how much product I use and it can get all over the place. So I figured taking the safe way and doing the outline first and then creating a bit of like a barrier between the bottom part of the nail where I'm going to do with the brush from the bottle itself kind of like prevented me from going a little overboard and keeping the nice drips of the ice cream shape nice and rounded, and made sure I didn't get the product where I didn't want it to be. So as you can see, there's really nothing complicated about this set at all. And while I am just filling out these nails over here, I'm filling out the cone part of the nails, I just wanted to ask you if you were interested in seeing like a nail vlog or like a nail studio tour after I move and have everything set up. Is that something that you're interested in? Because I thought about doing it, but I know those kinds of things can take a lot of time to do. So I would only do it if people are actually interested in it, so let me know. But I'm actually going to be having like my own room to have space to do all of my nail stuff and have everything set up. Right now, all of my stuff is spread out around our apartment because we currently live in a 2-bedroom apartment, and the second bedroom is like my office and my workspace and my nail studio / where I do my nail stuff, and it's also like our guest room, and it's kind of like a multifunction room. But in our new place, I'm going to have my own space to set up and really have like a really nice setup for everything. And I really hope to one day be able to actually even do clients and maybe even film that as well if my clients feel comfortable with something like that, and then you can see me actually doing nail art on real people. So these are just different ideas that I have that I am planning on working on, thinking about for the future. But for now, just let me know, is that something that you are interested in seeing? Some sort of like studio tour / how I organize things, how I set things up, etc., etc. So let me know. And then over here, so I basically matte top coated everything because I'm going to be doing the acrylic like sweater design nail for the cone area. So you can see I'm just placing down the gel in these just in the like a cone shaped pattern, kind of like a little bit of a checkered pattern, and then I'm going to pour over the clear acrylic, and then once I do that, I'm going to cure the gel in the lamp for a full 60 seconds for a full cure. And I did this because I wanted to add a little bit of texture because a lot of my stuff is already packed away and I didn't really have a lot of things to use to make the design a little bit more interesting and fun. I thought this would be a great way to add some texture, especially because cones, like ice cream cones, do have that like texture, that roughness, that 3D effect. So I thought this would be a really cool effect that would really give an interest to the design as well. So I matte top coated over the whole nail to make sure that the acrylic powder didn't stick to like the ice cream part of the nail, mostly because I just didn't want to have to worry about it if it got stuck there. It's not super necessary, but it is necessary to do a matte background for this like sweater texture design, and this is going to stay matte. So it was just easier to do over the whole thing, and also to kind of make sure that each of the different sections of the nail, the cone and the ice cream, are a nice even layer and there aren't any like height differentiations between them. So like the matte top coat was kind of just a great way to keep everything seamless and smooth. And this is nothing too complicated, as you can see here. It's just creating some lines and a very simple cone textured nail over here, and using the acrylic to really do the fun stuff, which is adding that 3D textured feel to it. So I also made sure to do this whole thing in one go and not do separate steps, despite the fact that like the gels kind of overlapped in the crossing, because when you do the acrylic to do like the like that sweater texture feel, if you do separate like lines that are supposed to look like they're connected, you can really see the difference where they like don't meet up exactly, and you can like see the difference between them. So I wanted to make sure to avoid that and give a really seamless look. So that's just why I did it that way. Yeah, I mean, there's so many different ways to do it, and again, there's no way to really do it wrong. And then over here, I just wanted to crisp up the, well, it's kind of funny to like crisp up the like drips, because the whole point is drips are supposed to be like not crispy. They're supposed to be like really just like floaty and floopy and not supposed to have sharp edges. But I just wanted it to have like a bit of like a differentiation between the cone and just kind of like a bit of a kind of like not really a 3D effect, because it doesn't end up having a 3D effect. It was more kind of just to make sure that it looks like it's sitting on top of the cone as opposed to being on the same level. So even though I wanted that in the beginning to make sure that the nail was nice and smooth, over here once I did the acrylic and the brown part for the cone, they kind of were like very flat, and I just wanted it to feel like it was on top of the cone so that it really gave, well, I wouldn't say realistic, because this doesn't look super realistic. Obviously, it looks like a very cartoonish ice cream set, but to give it a little bit more of like a believable sitting on top of the cone effect as opposed to being on the same level. Just a small little detail that I decided to add. It's not necessary if you are not interested in that or you don't want to. I just felt like with this set, because I didn't really have a ton to work with, adding the small details would have made the biggest difference. So as you can see here, I'm just adding some sprinkles. So I'm using these bright colors. I used the pink, purple, and blue. I thought it would just be a lot of fun, and even though there isn't really a ton of blue in the rest of the set, I thought that it would really pop and just add a bit of brightness, because as you can see here, everything's kind of like, even though there are a lot of different colors going on, it was just looking a little bit flat by having the same colors repeated, and by adding the bright blue and the dark purple, it just added just an extra layer of intrigue and interest, which is, like I kept saying, kind of what I was trying to accomplish with this set by being bold and dramatic and eye-catching without requiring too much work. So This was a super easy set and nothing too complicated about it. There's really no way to do it wrong. And just for a final touch, I wanted to add some of this. This is a cat eye gel, so I'm going to use the cat eye effect for it. But I thought that my thought process was to look like it was like chocolate syrup drizzling on top of the ice cream. So this nail and the one before that I used the Koko and Claire gel polish with, those had like little flecks of like matte confetti in them, and I thought that kind of like looked like sprinkles and added a bit of accent and texture to the nail design. And just to add a little bit more fun, adding this cat eye chocolatey gel over here, and the name was Brownie, which actually works so well for this set. It was like such a great like culmination of ideas and products just coming together. So fun. So I'm just using the cat eye to give it a little bit more of a velvety, almost like a rich chocolatey syrupy design, and I'm going to do the same thing on this nail over here just to add some intrigue and a little bit of fun and some glitter to the set. Again, with this, there's no way to do it wrong. You can't actually recreate any kind of chocolate drizzle unless, I don't know, I guess you take a photo or you copy a photo, but there's no wrong way to do it because chocolate always drips differently. You can't do it wrong. So that's what I love about these kinds of sets over here. And now I'm going to top coat. So for these two nails here that have the chocolate syrup, I'm going to do the full top coat over the whole thing. But for the ice cream nails, the ones with the cones, I am just going to top coat the ice cream itself, leaving the cone area matte. So that's one of the reasons why we did matte earlier, and that also helps give it the effect and the 3D texture of the nail. If you don't like that 3D texture and you're doing it on yourself, or if you're working on a person who doesn't like having that 3D texture, then you can definitely draw this with like a slightly darker shade of gel, and you don't have to do the 3D acrylic effect. But I thought it would just add some intrigue and interest and a fun texture to the nails. And this is the final set. I love how it came out. I think it is so fun. And despite it being super colorful and looking complicated, it really isn't. There was no complication whatsoever. You cannot do it wrong, and I love how this came out. So let me know your thoughts on this set down below, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!